Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to What's Next, friend. Today I'm going to be making mango, grapefruit, orange, dragon fruit, maybe a little bit of ginger juice. And as I do this juice, I'm going to talk about my next assignment, which is Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. And so, this assignment was me actually going back to Virginia because I was in Virginia before I went to OSAN back to Virginia. And so, as we like to start, we want to start with Jasmyn's card about Langley. So here's what Jasmyn said. She said, I had grown up a lot while living in Georgia, so coming back felt different. So she spent the year that I was in Korea, she actually lived with my mom in Hinesville, Georgia. And she says, for middle school at Benjamin Sims, 4 extremely Southern principals' voices will never leave me. Good evening, Sims parents. That's how they sounded. To Hampton Christian, when Brooke's mom gave me Saturday detention on my birthday for texting you about my final paper that I had left in the kitchen. Thank you for every time you left work for me. I never felt like a burden, even when I probably was. Listen, I have always had the mindset that this human, my daughter, is the most important thing that I can do. And I was in the military, so there you go. She says, to Peninsula Catholic, where I self-excused myself from Wednesday morning mass, somehow conquered AP physics, and finally graduated after attending 3 high schools. My baby is resilient. She did have to attend 3 different high schools before she graduated, and she graduated with honors. But anyway, she said, high school graduation was one of the highlights of my life because I really felt celebrated. After all the different schools, all the moves, and all the resets, this is where I understood not just what you did, but what it cost. My baby. Yes. So, that was Langley. So this is me coming back to Langley after the year in Korea. Now, what was cool about Langley is we already knew the area. We kind of knew where I was going to be living and what I wanted to do because we had been there already. So came back from OSAN and I did 2 things. I purchased my dream car, which was a Range Rover. I got a Range Rover Evoque, and I also we moved into a bigger house than we had before, and it was really nice. Like, it had like a gated community. There was a pool in the community, so it was really, really cool. So we lived in like Carrollton, Virginia, which is funny story. Carrollton, Georgia is where my family is, like my mom's side of the family. We have family that grew up in Carrollton, Georgia, and Bowden, Georgia. So anyway, so that's when I get back to Langley. Now, when I left, I was working at Global Cyberspace Integration Center. That's where I became an exec. That's where I got my first DP for major. And so when I came back, I was actually in a completely different area with a different job. I was in headquarters, oh, this grapefruit, it don't look that good. I was in headquarters, ACC, working in one of the directorates. I think it was 589 or something. And I was in the C2, which is command and control, CFT, which is core function team. I was not doing anything space related. I did not care. I just wanted to get back to Virginia, where Jasmyn like had her cheer and everything, and that's kind of where we really enjoyed Virginia. So I just wanted to get back. So I'm working in CFT, and I actually meet Macaroni. I call him my work dad. His last name is McAfee, and he was a what was it, C2? What is that airframe? He was a retired lieutenant colonel, but when he was active duty, he was a, oh God, what is that C2 airframe? I haven't been out so long. I haven't been out very long, but I'm forgetting the plane. Not B-52. Oh God, what is the C2 aircraft? J-Star? No, it wasn't. AWACS. Oh, there we go. He was AWACS pilot before he retired. He was so cool. Like I had never really worked with a black man who was like greater than like a major or anything. And so it was just really cool to work with him. Oh my God, look how beautiful this dragon fruit is. It's gonna be delicious. So it was really cool to work with him. He became my work dad. He talked me off the ledge a lot because I was like not really feeling the military. I had to go through something called an e-serve. So it's kind of like they were downsizing, and they had like everybody who was of retirement age or close to retirement had to like prove their worth to stay in longer because they were trying to get rid of folks. And so I had to go through essentially a retirement board to say, hey, I think I want to stay in longer. And I honestly was just like, I don't care, they can put me out. But Macaroni was like, no, you need to stay in. You have a good chance of becoming a lieutenant colonel. And so I did. I stayed in. Also at Langley, and I can't remember if I've been talking about my deployments or not, but also at Langley, I deployed to Jordan, which was my favorite deployment was Jordan. Oh my God, it was beautiful. I went there as a planner right after Jasmyn graduated from high school. Wait a minute, am I off on time? Yeah, because when I got back from Osan, I was there, and Jasmyn she had 18 months before she graduated. She had a year and a half. So she finished her junior year and did her senior year. And then after she graduated from high school, I then went to Jordan for a deployment for 6 months. So yeah, that's right, Langley. And when I tell you it was the best deployment, it was so stinking cool. I didn't have to carry a weapon. We weren't really even supposed to be there at the time. It was like a super secret squirrel thing that we even had any sort of presence there. So we had relaxed grooming standards. We didn't have to wear a uniform. Off base, I mean, we wore a uniform to work, obviously, but like as soon as you like left the base, which we could leave the base all the time, we didn't have to carry weapons like all the other deployments. It was just a really, really cool gig. And I wound up working, so because of my previous exec experience, I wound up working for the one-star general who later became one of the most influential people in my military career. And this man was Army. He was actually Canadian before he became an American. He's special ops, and he was the man was amazing to me. He was a general officer, obviously, Army, but he just believed in me. And I know that's crazy to say, but I had been, by that point, I'm sure I'd been in over 15 years, probably close to 17 or 18 at that point. And he was the first person that I ever worked for, the first military person. Because when I was an exec for an SES, and Mr. Newberry was amazing. He believed in me and always saw me doing great things, or believed that I would do great things in the military. But he was like one of the only few officers. I need to move this. He was one of the only few officers. Senior leaders, I should say, that really, encouraged that with me and instilled it in me. And so when I started working for General Bodette, he absolutely loves me. Like, he was just so supportive and such a mentor. Like, he always wanted me to try to lead different things and go into different spaces. And he said he knew there was something different about me. So again, I was in the Air Force. This deployment, I deployed with the Army. So again, not with the Air Force. I'm doing like an additional duty or an augmentee situation with the Army. And so the Army, when they deploy as units. And so everybody that was on the deployment essentially worked for him back when we got home, in garrison. So he would have these like mentoring sessions where he would have like all the CGOs, all the FGOs, come to, this mentoring session, because he believed in mentoring even while they were on deployment. And so I didn't have to go because I wasn't a part of the unit. But of course, I went because in my mind, anytime there's an opportunity to get knowledge or get some information from someone who is a general officer, I'm going to take it. So he said when he saw me sitting in the audience, he thought to himself, he was like, so she really takes her leadership or her development seriously. And he said, you don't know how many people I have forced to go to those things. And I was like, me just being me, not knowing that was going to make any sort of impact. Just thought that was really, really cool. While I was on the deployment, I went to, this is a long video. I'm sorry, guys. While I was on the deployment, I had a chance to come back to the States for a planners conference, because I was a planner. I deployed to be in the planning cell. When I came back from that TDY, they had moved me from the planning shop, from the 5, and put me in his front office to be his XO, which is executive officer, but the Army has something different. They have like an SGS, which is this something secretary to the general, which is kind of like an exec that the Air Force has, but I was also his XO. So I did the function of like keeping his office together, which is the secretary's job. And then I also traveled with him and took notes for intel purposes, which is kind of the XO's job. So I wound up doing like multiple jobs for this man, simply because he saw me in the audience at one of his like mandatory talks. I don't know. Anyway, so that was my Jordan deployment. It was very pivotal. Damn, I keep saying pivotal. It was very pivotal in my development in my career, because that's where I met General Bodette. That's where I also, my first kind of impression with public affairs was there. We had a PA, so some devastating things happened on that deployment. There was a Jordanian pilot who went down behind Syrian lines. This is when we were in conflict with with ISIS, and so he went down, and then he was essentially beheaded and burned alive on camera. It was significant because he had been trained essentially by us. I don't know if I can talk about all of this. Anyway, so PA was very involved in like the release and kind of what the general could talk about. When could he talk? When was it time for the king to talk? When should the, ambassador talk? And what should be the voice, or what should be the message from General Bodette? And it was just a very interesting way to see kind of things play out. And that was kind of my first intro to public affairs. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was really cool to see Ebony do her job in such a high level, sensitive way. I had to watch some of the intel I saw during that deployment for that incident. Stays with me. It kind of haunts me. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that's Langley. So Jordan, Jasmyn graduates high school. Macaroni, PA, General Bodette. And so when I worked for General Bodette, he was a 1-star and he retired as a 3-star general. Like I said, the man was amazing. And he always looked out for me. I mean, he was the one guy that I was like, man, if I could find a way to work for him again in any capacity, I totally would. And there are very few people that are like that I've come across in my career. I mean, one thing you know about me, like I said earlier in this video, the most important thing to me, even throughout my military career or just in my adulthood, has been my daughter, and making a life for her that was better than the one that I had, and making sure that she is put in conditions or put in positions where she can fully be herself, where she can fail without catastrophic consequences, where she can be who she wants to be, discover what she wants. I mean, all the things that sometimes we don't get as Black people because we're in such a state of survival mode. We are in such a state of just, you know, we just got to get by. We just got to get through. And so I didn't never necessarily want her to have experience lack in the same way that I did, and my situation was better than my mom's, and I'm sure her situation was better than her mom's. And so obviously you want to, through generations, make things better. I digress. But like I said, the most important thing to me has been like that relationship and my job as a mom. But working for General Bodette, I can honestly say that was like one of the times where it was like, you know, oh, okay, this is, okay, yeah, you know, this could be something that's inspirational. This could be something where I help other people, where my sacrifices and my service could be, you know, of use to somebody else. He really helped me see that. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, that was Langley. Next up will be Peterson. The first time. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Oh, and if you're interested, this is kind of what the juice is looking like now. I'm about to put the rest of the mango and grapefruit and ginger in it now, and it's gonna be delicious. I'm probably, truthfully, gonna make a cocktail tonight because I have to go work at the center tonight, the National Center of Civil and Human Rights. I have that tonight. Today I did berries. I did berries at 10. First I woke up, I packed to get ready to go to Chicago because I'm moving to Chicago next week, guys. And so I have a bunch of stuff here at Jasmyn's house. So I packed my stuff here at Jasmyn's this morning. Then I went to berries. I did a 15-minute workout or run, lift. Then after that, I went to the botanical gardens here in Atlanta, which was amazing, beautiful, stunning, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Now I'm making this juice because at 4:30 I have to go to the National Center of Civil and Human Rights and have an event there tonight from like 4:30 to 7:30. And then when I come back, I want to make a cocktail with this juice. I have some vodka, and this like mango, dragon fruit, orange, ginger concoction is going to be delicious. So, thanks for watching, guys. This is a bit of a long one. I apologize. I will try to keep the next one shorter. But if you have any questions, go to the comments. I figured out how to work my comments. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those questions. And thanks. Until next time.